Hello guys and girls, my name's Steve and I'm going to be talking you through the many dungeons of Final Fantasy XIV. First up, Sastasha. This is the first dungeon you'll encounter in the main quest line. This run is fairly straightforward and will teach you basic mechanics. First things first, it's a good idea that your healer casts Protect at the start of the dungeon. This will reduce damage received, so it's a no-brainer. The enemies in dungeons are tougher than your regular mobs, however at this stage they shouldn't cause you any worries. Near the beginning of the dungeon you will find a piece of paper called a bloody memo. This will hold information that will help you later on. As you progress you'll come across giant clams which will be guided by shade seekers. These clams will be invulnerable to damage when closed and can only be damaged once opened, so be ready with that DPS. The clams will continue to summon shade seekers until it's defeated. The idea is simple: bring down the clam, finish off the seekers, and then rinse and repeat. Bear in mind that the number of shade seekers can be slightly overwhelming. You'll come across a purple marker that indicates you're about to enter a boss area. As you enter said area you will notice 3 different colour coral which can be interacted with. The clue on the bloody memo from earlier will indicate which one is the correct one. Bear in mind if the wrong one is selected you will have to deal with a poison debuff and an extra enemy as well. Fans of the Final Fantasy series will recognise this boss. This encounter isn't much of a challenge and can be brought down fairly quickly. The main thing to be aware of is its AoE attack, but there is plenty of time to dodge this. If you don't panic, as your healer should be able to get you through without any struggles. Next up is Captain Madison. Again another straightforward encounter that won't cause you much trouble at all. Captain Madison will have 2 of his minions to deal with. Deal with these first, then move on to the captain. Once he reaches a certain amount of health, he will then retreat from the fight, leaving you to give chase. Whilst on the hunt for the good captain, you'll come across his crew. They can be dispatched pretty quickly and again won't cause you much hassle. One of the enemies will drop a key, so be sure to pick this up to be able to enter the next room. Once you have the key, you can enter the captain's quarters, defeat the mob guarding the door, and then enter to find another member of the captain's crew. This guy may look more intimidating, but he's really nothing special. He will however drop another key that you will need to progress on to the next area. Deja vu anyone? Captain Madison again, and again with his trusty crew. Dispatch his bodyguards and then turn your attention to the captain. Midway through the encounter he will release his loyal dogs. To help control the extra enemies I would suggest the tank to place themselves between the gate and the rest of the party, making pulling aggro easier. Defeat the dogs and then return to the captain. Once his health reaches a certain point he will once again retreat. Pursuing Captain Madison once again running into his crew. Handling these guys isn't anything you haven't done before. Once dealt with, you can move on to the final encounter. This encounter requires a little more thought, however, if executed correctly, it will walk in the park. As you enter the boss area, you will notice 4 platforms around the room. As you bring the boss down, these platforms will spawn adds. This can be dealt with 2 ways. The first is to focus DPS on the boss and ignore the platforms. This method will require the tank to pull the extra adds, and the healer to keep the tank alive through the extra damage. The second is to interrupt the spawning adds. This is done by interacting with the unnatural ripples. I suggest the DPS does this while the tank holds the boss and the healer keeps the tank alive. Whichever way you choose, this encounter shouldn't take long and you'll be on your way to completing your first dungeon.